Well, hello, folks. Good morning from California time. It's 8 a.m. and we'll get started soon. And welcome back from Contribute.
Hey, Mac, I'll welcome back, and I'll get us kicked off, I guess, with a question.
Sure.
You have 5 pages of things that need to be improved. Is your expectation that like all 5 pages worth is attacked, or are you prioritizing that work, or how are you thinking about it, just from that perspective?
So some of these are an iteration from the board of directors meeting, and these are essentially the highest priority items. There are more in the backlog that I didn't capture in this GC slides. Different teams are tackling it. If you look at the OKR, the dev side of things in quality department are actually tackling the test readability, test efficiency. The metrics are being tackled by the engineering productivity team, and test reports and making tests easy to debug is tackled by the ops and CI/CD engineers in that sub team. So it's being, all of these are being addressed at this point. Tanya, thank you for taking notes. Appreciate that.
Mac, on slide 12, you talk about and sorry, I think I'm coming back with a little bit of a cold. So talking about career path as well as potentially looking at the benchmark, can you talk some about the challenges you're having on the hiring front, maybe?
Thank you. Yeah, so we have lost some candidates actually because of the comp mismatch. We do take into account and document it, but sadly we say goodbye to them at this point because we can't pay at that range. And these are people that have moved from San Francisco and they have the SDET title, but they have now moved to like the East Coast or other areas of the United States. So next iteration would be maybe a revise on the benchmark. I'm engaging Brittany and Eric Johnson on that. And the next iteration is looking to see the title change. But we'll iterate on that without jumping too far from the numbers.
All right, I'll take the next one. So the next thing that's near and dear to my heart, obviously, is moving Insight into GitLab. Can you talk a bit more about that transition? How do you feel about what we've implemented so far? What's the next iteration in your mind?
Sure, thank you about that. We just talked about this with Remy on our one-on-one this morning. So we're looking to enable insights for every project under the gitlab.org group and get feedback so the team can dog food it. We're looking to lift the feature flag sometime in 12.0 and even accompany it with a blog post. At Contribute, there are also talks about needing more visualization in the product itself. So there's also Virginia, who is going to lead VSM and cycle analytics that we're going to coordinate as well. I think she's looking to provide metrics from the underlying, like if this code churn is often, why is it such? But we're tackling it from a GitLab use case perspective, like throughputs and such. So once we have lifted the flag, I think we're going to start creating dashboards in the native insights itself. So in the dropdown at the gitlab.org, have a plan, create, manage, and maybe even a sub-department high level. But that depends on an issue that will allow us to narrow down the number. So if you create a chart limit this to just these projects that you're looking for. Right now, it's just everything under the parent. So you get everything. And that's probably the use case for most of our soon-to-be customers. Thank you. Also, I apologize if there are very little links on slide 14. This is fresh off the oven from Contribute. We had a roundtable on how to improve community contribution experiences. And this is a working doc. I'll be creating an epic and also finding out issues for us to make improvements here. But high level summary is that we do want to have some kind of a coaching mechanism. If there are a lot of first time contributors that just go away, they might need help. So instead of just letting them struggle, give the option to, hey, do you want us to take it over? And then use the MR assignee as the reviewer. So because first time contributors are reporters, they don't have any permissions to be assigned to any MR by default. So we're gonna reuse the MR assignee as our reviewer who is responsible for reviewing this MR and shepherd it across. And there's a bunch of discussions around there as well. In the doc. So apologies if there are less links here. And we want to open the MR coach channel and leverage Gitter. So make it public, open it up more and lower the barrier to entry and provide a better experience overall for our community and the wider community.
Hey, Mac, this is William on
Hello,
slide
sir.
4. Good morning. On slide 4, you talk about one of the wins is CI stability. Can you just tell us a little bit about what the kind of challenges you were facing there and what you did to address them as a team?
So the model for CI is flaky tests is worse than no tests. And it's a lot of work on our side right now, but for every flaky test, we move them into quarantine. It's still being run in a separate pipeline, but it's not creating noise in the state of the MR. So that helped a lot. There's still a lot of work on de-quarantining it. So that's the model that we're going. That's industry standard for CI/CD. We do want to automate some of this later in the next iterations, where if it starts to fail, then the bot will go and automatically quarantine and create an issue for us, and we would just go and unquarantine it. So those are the building blocks to get us to a clean CI result. I can talk about a few more iterations here. It's not in the greens yet. We saw some failures while we are contributing as well. So a lot of manual hand-holding on our side, but we're happy that at least it's giving a clearer picture for release managers and anybody who's relying on the tests. So yes, in short, flaky test is worse than no test. That's the model.
Hey, Mac, I should know the answer to this, and I don't. So that's not a great way to start the conversation. But on slide 5, you were talking about meeting bug SLAs. You don't actually define what the SLA is for bugs. And I was curious what they were.
They're in the documentation. It's hard to find right now because the documentation team is working on making it better. But they're in the definition for our workflow labels. And it spells out what is the SLA for P1 to P4. And we share the same SLA for security. It's spelled out there.
So what is it for P1s, just out of curiosity?
P1 is 30 days, P2 is 60, P3 is 90 days, and then P4 is 120 and beyond. So roughly a quarter plus 3 releases, 2 releases, 1 release. So that's the rough timeline. Oh, thank you, Sanat. The links are there. I'll copy it into the document as well. Oh, it's already there. Thank you.
Mike, what are some interesting things that you heard from folks that contribute that would be helpful for their workflows?
We do want a closer collaboration with the support department, because this one is public. I don't want to dive into explicit numbers here, but when somebody posts a send us link to an issue, I originally thought that we need to escalate it all the time. That's not the case, because the send us issues also contain non-paid customers. So we need to find a mechanism where this send us link is posted, it's affecting this customer, the type of market or the type of number we're looking at, and then that will give a better clarity into the triage urgency for product managers, because that's the higher urgency that we need to tackle. That is one. The GDK, I wish we had more time to work on the GDK. I think review apps are the next thing, and I think Remy is working on, I think the success rate is now in the 90s, 90%. So we're gonna make that a soft gate. But the GDK is probably more neglected, unfortunately, in this past, I would say, quarter. So I wish we had time to work on improving the GDK and make it more stable. And the UX team is also using the GDK to preview their changes. So until we make review apps really solid and cover all cases, we still need to make the GDK production grade. That's the common theme that I'm hearing.
If I may add to that, that's a really good conversation, and we've had similar ones on the dev side. It's going to be really important to really, like, this is not just a quality team initiative, and nor should it be. The dev teams are also invested in helping with this. We need to have the quality gates up and running consistently, so that when we go and turn on CD, we have confidence in every MR making it to production. So these are the things that help us go fast, and they're a top priority for everyone. So Meg, reach out. I'm happy to help, and we should collaborate on this.
Awesome. Thank you. I also want to say that we don't have to stick to the slides. If you didn't get to meet me, if you have concerns on the quality or anything that relates to quality, please feel free to speak up. This is the venue for it.
I feel like I'm asking all the questions today, Mick, or Dahlia and myself. One more. So we talk on slide 9 about not requiring test plan issues by default. Basically, we're changing kind of our process around that. What I'm curious is are we doing anything in anticipation that may affect our quality, or how are we keeping an eye on that from the pursuit? By the way, I support that initiative. Just want to make sure that we feel like by removing something that we're not affecting quality too much.
Sure. So we're removing it because, frankly, the team is not using it. So if there's a quality bar, requiring test plan issues by default is not contributing to that. That's why we feel the confidence of removing it. However, we do want to make sure that there's some coverage of test plan in big changes, for example, like the rugged patches, the performance patch. And if we are upgrading Rails or upgrading Ruby, there has to be a test plan for it. And there's a whip on an MR that I'm working on right now for that. So yeah, that explains the reason why. And my model is that try to bake it in, and if we see a failure point that's not helping the team, then we remove it because we don't want it to be a blocker. Velocity and quality has to be balanced, and given how fast we are running, we need to be pragmatic about how we add more process. I do see some SREs and infrastructure on the call. I do want to give a kudos. We're getting 2 new test infrastructure setting up right now. Marin and Anthony's team are doing a great job helping us. So kudos and thank you for that as well.
Hey, Max, this is Dan.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, so I'm just curious if you guys are looking at our security dashboard for the GitLab.com or for the GitLab.org. I know it was turned on recently to have the secrets detection, and currently shows 206 critical bugs, a portion of which are because of secret detection having found things. I'm wondering if we're aware of that or doing anything about that.
No, so security, I am leaning on Kathy for this effort, but if we need quality to be involved, please let us know. I'm not looking at it specifically. Is there anything that I should be looking at? Feel free to let me know. Are the bugs security related bugs, or are they functional bugs?
I would guess that we would file them as security related. So this is so the security dashboard's looking at all of the projects under GitLab-org. So granted, that's not just EE and CE, there's a lot under there. But it flags when it finds what it believes is a secret. And those might be false positives, I don't know, but it's a test, another test that we run, or that it's checking on when it runs our vulnerability scans.
Do you have a link for it? And I'm happy to jump in as well. I think security and quality are highly intertwined. So anything that we can help ensure that no secrets are being leaked, and asking our counterpart test automation engineers to highlight, we're happy to do so as well. Is there an issue or a link you can please share? Happy to look into it.
I'll send that over. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, Mark, I've got another question for you. We just got back from GitLab Contribute, and I am curious, in terms of your team and the interaction that you experienced at Contribute, what are some things that maybe you experienced as a team that were unique to being together face-to-face and co-located that we don't get to do remote? Maybe the summary of the question is, what was the value that you feel that you got out of Contribute for your team?
Well, for me, to see them in person, obviously, and to actually buy them coffee versus like having coffee chats. So my team is still growing. Unfortunately, not all of them could make it. There's some Sanat from Pakistan, the visa situation, we got denied, and Ramya wasn't there, and a few members couldn't join as well. So the interaction was great. I think the level of energy and enthusiasm in person is different than on the team call. We did use the team dinners to bond better with our counterpart teams. So we didn't have a specific department dinner per se, but each counterpart members went out with their respective stage group. So building the relationship there is important. I think that's something you don't get to do every day. And yeah, next time I'm hoping that more more of us can be there to interact in person. But a funny comment from one of my team members. I think the level of productiveness, I think, doesn't change. I think because everybody as I contribute, less people were responding to the issue. So if you were working, like, you actually are less productive because nobody's responding to the issue. So I would say that async and remote is winning here because we get more stuff done at home per se in terms of reaction time. So that was an interesting remark from one of my team members.
Yeah, and I completely agree, Mac, that remote work is winning and is the way to go. And perhaps didn't articulate properly that I think that being at Contribute is what fuels us to then work remote further, as you kind of mentioned, building those relationships.
Yep, totally agree. Thank you, Willem. So we're at the 21-minute mark. So we'll open for a few more questions, and we'll probably end at 20, 26, 27 to give time for the company call.